What's up, guys? Justin here with the CGEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're going to create a bent perforated sheet inside of Blender. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a Shift A to add a mesh, and we're going to add a plane. I'm going to go ahead and tap the G key and then the Y key in order to move this over. Then I'm going to tap S in order to scale this up. So we've got a larger plane in here that we can now start working with. And what we want to do is we want to use the power of modifiers in order to create this, because modifiers are really what make Blender so powerful. They allow you to make changes that aren't destructive, meaning you can adjust them later. So let's go ahead and let's click on the little wrench right here. And we want to click on the button for Add Modifier. And I'm going to go ahead and I want to solidify this object. And in this case, I'm going to set my offset to -1. Or +1, so that this is creating thickness upward. And I've got this set, we'll go ahead and we'll call this maybe like 0.33 feet right here. And so notice how when it did this though, this extruded way thicker than it should have. The reason why is because when we scaled this object up, we didn't apply our rotation and scale. And that's messing up the way this is being applied in here. So what we want to do is we just want to go to Object, Apply, Rotation, and Scale. Notice how when we do that, this modification now works the way that it's supposed to. This is about 4 inches thick. So now we've got our surface in here. And one thing to note about this is remember that this is still just a flat plane as far as Blender is concerned. So if I was to tab into edit mode, for example, notice how this is just like a flat surface in here that's getting a modifier applied to it. Well, now let's go ahead and let's cut some holes in this surface. So to do that, I'm just going to drop into top-down mode for a second, and I'm just going to do a Shift right click, and I'm going to place the 3D cursor wherever you want to place the object that you're going to use as your cutting object. So I'm going to do a Shift A, and I'm going to add a cylinder like this. So now we've got 2 3D shapes in here, and what we want to do is we want to use one of them to cut a hole in the other object. So to do that, what we can do is we can click on this object right here, add a modifier, and in this case we want to add a boolean modifier. And what we want to do is we want to go down here to the boolean modifier that it creates and use the eyedropper to select that cylinder. Now, can we tell if it's working? Not really. And so the best way to fix this is we want to go in and select this cylinder, and in the object properties under viewport display, we want to set this to display as wire. And so when we display that as wire, what that's going to do is that's going to show this as a wireframe object, which allows us to see what's happening with our boolean modifier inside of the scene. So now I want to cut more holes in this surface. So in order to cut more holes in the surface, what I want to do is I want to make copies of this cylinder, right? But I don't really want to do this manually. What I want to do instead is I want to use another modifier, and I want to apply it to the cylinder. So you're going to select the cylinder, click on the little wrench, and you're going to add a modifier. And in this case, we want to add an array modifier. And so what the array modifier is going to do is it's going to allow us to create copies of this object, right? And so the first thing we want to do is we want to set our factor to a negative value. And so if I do a -1 and then bump the count up, notice how it's going to create copies over and over and over again, and they're going to be perfectly spaced. The problem is this doesn't really give us the look that we're going for, because we want a little bit of spacing in between our objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my factor to -2 instead of -1. Notice how now the spacing right here is wider. Well, now what I can do is I can up the count like this so that I'm getting more copies of this in here. And one thing to note about this, and this is the power of modifiers, is because we haven't cut the hole, we can select this object and we can use the move tool. So we can just tap G and move this, and notice how the holes are moving with our object. So that means that at any point, if we decide that we want to adjust the placement in here, we can do that. But now I'm going to jump into a top view, and I'm going to add a second modifier to this cylinder, another array. But in this case, we don't want to set the array going in the X direction. We want to set it going in the Y direction, right? So we're going to set the factor of X to 0. We're going to set the factor of Y to 2. And so what that's doing is it's creating this array first, and then it's applying the second array after that. Well, what that means is that we can go through and we can add these additional rows in here like this. So now what we've done is we've generated this perforated sheet inside of our scene. And so for the moment, if we want to, we can go up here and we can toggle this off in our scene so that we don't actually see those cylinders. And so those are still in here. It's just that we're not currently seeing them in our scene. But now what I want to do is I want to take this object and I want to bend it, right? So I want it to bend 180 degrees in this direction. So to do that, we want to add another modifier. In this case, just a simple deform modifier. And so when we do that, that's going to add that to the bottom of our modifier stack. And we want to go into our bend and we want to set our bend to something like 180 degrees, right? But we've got a problem. And the problem is this is like all sorts of messed up, right? And the reason that it's all sorts of messed up is because it doesn't know where to bend this object from. So we're not getting a very good result. And so what I want to do with this object selected is I'm going to go to Object, Snap, and I want to snap my cursor to my active object right here. That puts my 3D cursor right here. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a Shift A and we're going to add an empty. And in this case, we're going to add a plane axis empty. All that is a point in space. There's no geometry associated with it. But what we can do now, because we place this right in the middle of our object, is we can, inside of our simple deform modifier, we can use the eyedropper to select this empty. And so when we select that empty, what this is going to do is this is going to take the object and it's going to bend it around that empty location. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this value down for a second, just so we can kind of take a look at this. So I brought this down to 45. And so the problem that we're dealing with right now is a couple things. First off, the orientation of the empty is not the right direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to rotate this along the x-axis like this. And we're going to rotate it negative 90 degrees. So what that did is it just changed the direction that that object was facing like this. But we have another, so all we did is we just rotated the empty so that it's facing in another direction, right? So it's facing downward. So now we're getting closer to what we're looking for here. But the problem is, even if we take this object and we change our angle to 180 degrees, which is what we want, right? We want this like fully bent. The problem that we have in here is there's not enough geometric detail in our object for this to properly bend it, right? So one thing that we can do, and this again is the power of modifiers, is if I tab into edit mode right here, notice how this shows me the original object that I have inside of my scene, right? Well, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on this and I'm going to subdivide it. And I want to subdivide it. And notice how the more I subdivide it, the more detail I'm getting in this cut, right? So all we're doing is we're just subdividing this plane right here, and I'm going to subdivide it to a value of 10, like this. So now, if I tab back out of edit mode, and I look at this, notice how this is giving me a much better result, right? So, and the reason it's giving me a much better result is because now there's enough detail in here that it can figure out where that subdivision is supposed to happen. Now, if you wanted this to be smoother, what you could do is you could also add a subdivision surface modifier in here that would add even more geometric detail. You have to be careful with this though, because what this is going to do, if we look at the wireframe, is it's going to come in here and it's going to subdivide this shape even more, which is not necessarily quite what we want. So before I do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle off these other modifiers for a second. So I'm just clicking on the toggle off in viewport for right now. What I don't want it to do is I don't want it to subdivide the entire thing that we've created, because it's going to create a lot of geometry. Because what we want is we're going to take this subdivision surface modifier, and instead of putting it at the top of this or at the bottom of the stack, we want to move it to the top of the stack like this. We also want to set this to a simple subdivision. And so when we do that, what that's going to do is that's going to subdivide this object. And now if we toggle this back on and go back into our shaded mode right here, notice how this is a lot smoother because it's creating that additional geometry. Notice if I toggle this off, notice how it's much rougher. So we're using that to create this geometry before the modifiers are applied in here. Now, a couple other things about this real quick. So you can also right click on this and you can shade this smooth. But if you pick the shade smooth option, you're going to get this kind of like weird result in here like this. What you want to select instead is you want to select the shade auto smooth. That's going to do a better job of smoothing out this geometry so that you're not seeing that kind of like clunky additional geometry in here. But we're also getting that with our cylinders. Remember our cylinders? Those are still in here. Well, we can toggle those on, and I'm going to select one of those cylinders, and you just click in here in order to do this. And again, we're just going to do a shade auto smooth. And so then we can toggle these back off. But notice how when we shade auto smooth, that means the boolean that's being created is creating shaded or smooth geometry as well. So we're getting much smoother results with these holes right here. And so one thing I do want to point out is I want to take this and I want to move it up above my ground, right? But if I move it right now, notice how I lose all of the holes that are in here. That's because this is still living in this 3D space, and we want to make sure that, and it's still intersecting those objects with the surface that's in here. So what I want to do is I want to take both of these. So I'm going to select them both and then move them up like this. So I just want this one, then I'll do a control click to get this one. Then I can move this up. You need to make sure that you get the empty as well, actually, because the empty is setting your bend location. So if you move the whole thing up, then it's not going to mess up your cutting in here. And so let's say, and I'm going to jump into shaded mode for a second. Let's say we wanted to apply a material to this. So if I was to come in here and create a new material, and we're just going to make it like a glossy red, right? We're just going to take our base color, make it red, but then we also want to add or reduce the roughness so that this is kind of reflective like this. So it's a glossy red. One thing to note about this is notice how you're not getting materials applied in the holes that are being cut right here. If you do want materials to be applied in the holes that are being cut, what you want to do is you want to also apply that material to your cylinder. So if you apply the material to your cylinder like this, then the holes that your cylinder cuts are going to be colored as well. And so remember, the power of this is that it's non-destructive, meaning what I could do is I could toggle my simple deform off and I could go back and look at this. Well, let's say that I didn't want to create something like this. Let's say I wanted to create something that put more like recesses or something like that. Well, what I could do is I could toggle this boolean off and hide these cylinders, but then I could come in here and I could create a different shape. So maybe if I inserted like a cube, for example, and I'm just going to scale this a little bit, scale it on the z-axis, then I'm going to apply that rotation and scale. Well, what I could do is instead of using this boolean to cut holes with cylinders, I could adjust boolean. So instead it's using this cube, and we're going to take this cube, set our visibility to wire again so that we can see what it's doing, but then we could add an array to that. This, but then we could go back into our object, toggle our simple deform back on, and see how in this case, now we're able to change the shape that we're cutting into this using the boolean. So because this is live, it's really easy for us to adjust this. So I could always go back to the cylinders as well, because those are both sitting in the same location like this. You can use this in order to create these really interesting shapes really quickly. And remember that these are all live, meaning that you can adjust them. But if you export this to another program, like a SketchUp, like an Unreal Engine, whatever else you work in, if you were to export this way right now, it would just show up as a flat plane. You need to make sure if you want to finalize this, and remember that if you finalize these, you're not going to be able to adjust them after the fact. But if you want to finalize this, what you can do is you can click the drop down and you can apply these different modifiers. You always want to start at the very top and click on apply and work your way down, not the other way around, because remember that's the order that these are being applied in order to create this. So if you do need to export this, you're going to want to apply that, but remember that as soon as you do that, this is no longer going to be a live object in Blender. All right, so leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions, if you like this kind of tutorial. I just love having that conversation with you guys. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.